Everybody, welcome to the City Hall and the meeting tonight. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I call the meeting to order at 6:36. Thank you. Robin Carter will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Russi.
Councilmember Lau.
Present.
Councilmember Crosby.
Here.
Councilmember Carter.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Present.
Mayor Hepburn.
Present.
Okay.
Do we have announcements? I think we have a few announcements from some people. We have
You have one card right there.
Benita Beauchamp. Oh, I said it right, didn't I?
You've been practicing a lot.
Oh, yeah, actually all weekend long.
First name, not just
Beauchamp.
Okay, I just wanted to remind the residents of the city that tomorrow morning at 9:30 is the LA County Board of Supervisors meeting. Although that the DJJ issue is not on their agenda, we encourage the residents to make public comment, letting them know that we are not in favor of the decision of bringing it to the city of Laverne. Also, to remind the residents that on February 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Probation Oversight Committee meeting, which will pertain to that. It is on their agenda, and we need to make sure that the residents stay vigilant on this subject because the supervisors are scheduled to vote on this before the end of the month. However, it is not on any agenda that is available at this time, but we expect a decision from them by the end of the month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And don't get discouraged. I was on the phone for almost 2 3/4 hours, and I never got on, and I was in the queue. So it's frustrating. And they had real problems with their, I guess, AT&T last time. But generally, this county supervisor meetings run a lot smoother than the commission meetings, as we found. So, but if anybody wants to get on and voice their opinion, and you've got the talking points. So thank you, Ms. Beauchamp. I appreciate that. Kathy Newland.
Thank you, Council. I'm here. I have, on Saturday at the rally, we handed out these cards and just needs a name and an address. And Joe Gabaldon is going to take them to Barger's office on Thursday morning. So I have some if anyone wants to fill them out tonight. And I also have a petition that you can sign. That will also go to Barger's office. So I can go ahead and, I'll be there if anybody wants to have them. Do you guys want a card?
I think I put one in already. I put one in this weekend.
You
Yeah.
did. Thank you. And do you want me to leave one of the petitions up here?
Please.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Anybody else?
I want to say this weekend, too, was very successful. I know we didn't get a lot of media coverage, but a lot of new faces out there that are in the room right now. It's very important that we keep fighting this and we make sure that we let our position known. And I want to thank Michelle McLean and Laura Alvarado. They're the ones that kind of spurred this with the residents to have another one and talking to Kathy Newland, Lois, Joe Gabaldon, Cynthia Gabaldon, Pam Berry, putting this together. And it's very important that we show. We had our equestrians out this weekend, which was really cool. The biggest pets you've ever seen in your life, but they were really cool. So, Mr. Russi.
Just to speak to the supervisors?
I think so, yes,
Yeah,
please.
Okay. If I can get my mic on. So we have been in conversation with both of our supervisors' offices and their staff, Catherine Barger as well as Supervisor Solis, and Mayor and I were on a virtual meeting with her today. And both offices confirmed that they are monitoring the situation as far as when an item was either going to come forward to the commission and or the board, and assured us that they would let us know when that information was available, including any report that was out, so that we could make the community aware to ramp up for whatever that appropriate meeting or meetings would be, that there might be an action for consideration. So rest assured, while there isn't any activity at the moment, we are paying attention to what's going on, and they have committed to making sure that we're made aware as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Russi. Yeah, and I want to make sure that when we do get on these meetings, it's it's not the NIMBY, it's the fact of what this camp means and the other camps that are of a better fit for the secure youth and also the other youth. So the SYTF youth and the secure youth, and making sure that we're focused on that, because, you know, we've had it in our backyard for decades, so it's not like it's not there. It's just the fact of what they want to do with it. And there are other places. I know that the Barry J. Neidorf and also Kilpatrick are some of the other locations that they're looking at. But they're looking at other locations too. So hopefully our situation, but as Mr. Russi stated, they know, they've heard us, but I think as long as it's constructive and focused, I think we just continue our fight like we've been doing, and just let them know that it's unacceptable. And if you want to get on the meetings, I think it's a great idea. As long as it's agendized and there's something on there, but you can let the supervisors know that this is coming. But on the commission meetings, just make sure if it's agendized that we focus on what's going on with our youth camp and what the purpose is. So thank you, everybody. Everybody did a great job. We have one other. Do we have Sherry Best on virtual? Is that correct?
No. Julia Wheeler.
Oh, Julie Wheeler. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Can you hear me?
We can see part of you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Am I good to go? Okay, I think I've got the thumbs up. Thank you. Hello, I'm Julie Wheeler, and I'm a proud board member of CASI, the Cultural Awareness and Social Inclusion Committee. I'm honored to be working toward creating a city of hospitality and welcome. CASI was begun as a grassroots movement in 2019, and our intention is to educate, inform, encourage, and build awareness for all community members in the city of Laverne. The focus of the committee is to provide understanding that every inhabitant is entitled to equal accommodations within the city. More importantly, we strive to uplift and create a community where all are welcome. And we feel that in our diversity, we are stronger, richer, and wiser to meet the challenges of our ever-changing world. The committee holds space for representation from the city, elected officials, Tri-City Mental Health, ULV, NAACP, Youth and Family Action Committee, Fire, Police, Chamber of Commerce, Hillcrest, and of course residents. The online meetings are held monthly, the very first Wednesday of the month at 5 p.m. And I'd like to invite you this next Wednesday, the very first Wednesday, March 2nd, we are having a conversation with our newly appointed police chief, Chief Flores. So please join us at 5 p.m. for a chat with our new chief. And if you don't have a Zoom link, please contact the city. I think it's Deborah Fritz that can send you a link. Thank you for your time.
We have another hand raised. He's got a couple of them. Right.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. My name is Lily Verano. I have something to say. First, Saturday we went to the Hotex, the corner district. I'm just glad so many residents come to join and sign the car. And I was the other side of the road. Say hi because I got COVID, so keep distance. So, but anyway, we still could do a lot of things online, right? So I just hope everyone will keep going to call the meeting, and then DJJ. This is just final February opportunity. I will say that. And also the other news about Bonita High School and Ramona School. A lot of parents, a lot of kids, they participate max free choice in last Friday. Make the news and Fox News. But in the Instagram, I saw a lot of negative teasing them and said embarrassing. So I just want to support them, support the student, participate in mask-free, mask choice. And today, some parents in the front of Juanita High School and Ramona, they are on the news KTLA. I just want to support them because even though I'm supportive about mask, actually I support mask choice because I couldn't talk with the mask on. Okay, so it's very important, especially now the people who want mask choice get teasing. So a lot of people say, yeah, they will not follow the law. No, it's not law. It's mandate. Now it's really like the communist country. We had forced to do that. Even tomorrow, we saw the news February 15th. Mass gonna live up a lot of mandate, but LA County said we are not gonna do that. I feel like what happened? What they think they are? The supervisor meeting tomorrow. We're gonna call to ask why is California gonna live up the mandate, and then LA County said no, we're not gonna do that. Who do you think you are? LA County is too special, right? They are so enjoy to be dictator. I think I come from a communist country. It's just really more like LA County, more like a communist country right now. That's what I feel. So I hope people will not follow like a sheep. Please say something, do something. We still have the freedom at this moment, but we're losing the freedom. It's just like the people follow like a sheep. Some students and parents not follow the mask mandate. It's okay. It's a choice. I really 100% support them. Yeah, thank you. So please go ahead, call tomorrow. We're gonna stay online. Comment that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily.
And please just remember, if you're raising your hand right now, it's for community announcements. Nobody else, sir.
Any other announcements from the group? No? We will go ahead to the consent calendar. Do we have anything pulled, Mr. Russi?
We don't, but I would like to point out that there are two items where council members have a conflict and their vote will not reflect that item. 2207 is Councilmember Carter, and 2208 is Councilmember Lau.
Very good. Then I need a motion.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as written.
Second?
And I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Vote, please.
All those vote. Or those that aren't in favor.
Hold it there, please.
What? There we go.
Just wait.
I did the same thing too.
It's been a while.
Okay, go ahead and take it down. I will report it.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. Except-
Move to camera three. Move to camera three. Let's get it to camera three.
We have a public hearing. Is that correct, Mr. Russi?
Yes, we do. This is our annual public hearing that is required for our CDBG block grant funding, and Candace Wilcock will be giving that report. Candace.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Oops. This is the 48th funding year for the Community Development Block Grant Program. For the fiscal year 22-23, the City of Laverne is expected to be allocated approximately $150,000 in CDBG funds. The Senior Hot Lunch
Ms.
Program...
Bocock, take your time. We don't want you to pass out. Take your time, please. These stink.
The Senior Hot Lunch Program has been operating successfully with CDBG funds for over 20 years, and staff is continuing to recommend that that money be awarded to the Senior Hot Lunch Program for the full 20% allowed for the public service programs by funding $30,000 for that program. Staff is also asking that $58,000 be allocated for the sidewalk repair program that would provide for removal of architectural barriers on damaged sidewalks for approximately 30 locations throughout the city. As identified in previous years, due to expanding regulatory criteria, it's very difficult for Laverne to find programs that would be deemed eligible. Therefore, there's a total of $62,000 that's left unallocated for the next fiscal year. We also have a total amount of about $380,000 that will be rolling over from this fiscal year to the next fiscal year, which will be in total about $530,000 that could be programmed to other projects. Staff is currently evaluating other possible facility improvements that the funds may be able to be used for. The City Council received a request from a resident suggesting a tree removal program. Staff made contact with our county representative coordinator from Cdbg, and we were told that this type of program, unfortunately, is not an eligible activity under the current guidelines. Therefore, staff is recommending that the City Council adopt resolution number 22-09, adopting the Cdbg allocation to the Senior Hot Lunch Program and the Sidewalk Repair Program, or project, and staff will bring back any new projects for the remaining balance at a later date. I'm available from staff if you have any questions.
Council, any questions for Ms. Bocock?
Just a quick clarification. Are we talking resolution 2208 or 2209?
Lupe changed it on me.
It's
What is
2208.
it? I thought it was on 9.
I have it as 2208.
So do I.
Okay.
Correct?
We're funding out.
I know.
Mine says 09.
It's 09.
It's 09? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, 08 is the, which is under consent.
So a little.
Okay,
Any
thank you.
questions for Ms. Bocock?
I do have a question. Do you, Wendy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, my question is, with all these trees that have lifted with the winds, the money allocated right now for sidewalks, I'm concerned with all the sidewalks because you drive around, you see how they even lifted. With these same funds, have you taken into consideration this money to cover that, or can we add more from the unallocated funds to cover that? How will that work?
That, we are looking at that separately as we look at the recovery from the windstorms. So Sean is going to be putting those together. These funds that are identified for next year don't account for that.
Don't, okay.
So if there is an opportunity to use these funds for that project, that will be one of the things we come back with.
Okay, good. Okay.
That was one of my questions. My second question was, do we know what other cities are doing with their money? I mean, I'm sure you guys have done a ton of research, but I'd be curious to know what other possible applications could pertain to our city since it's so restrictive.
Mm-hmm. I ask that question every year when we're trying to figure out what to do with our money. And a lot of the other cities, they do the housing rehab program, which we are possibly going to be doing with other funding. And there's other things that often are not, that Laverne can't do because of our census tracts not having low mod. We only have one, so it makes it really difficult. But yeah, we're in the talks of getting that information, and we think we have some possible ideas, and like I said, we'll come back with those.
And then in terms of the money that is unallocated, does that just roll over from year to year, and we don't have any chance of losing it? We still have the opportunity to determine each year what we can do with it?
There is a certain percentage you have to spend. I've been in contact, like I said, today with the representative, and as long as we give him in writing what we intend to do, he said there will be no chance of losing those funds.
Okay, thank you.
What time frame is that as far as notification? What kind of time frame?
Notification for?
Well, if you notify them, I mean, how long do we have before some of the, I know because a lot of funds will have to go back to at a certain time. So if you notify them on your purpose, how long does it take for us to notify them?
We'll be fine through the next fiscal year.
Okay. That would be nice to see that we can be able to use this for what we discussed many years ago when we were in council. There are some areas in our neighborhoods that families could utilize that if at all possible. Yeah.
And if we end up with because one of the things we looked at, the other funds were using ARPA funds for housing rehab, but if we wanted to expand beyond the funds that have been allocated, it will be allocated through that. We're out to an RFP right now for that program. We can certainly look to some of these funds to supplement what we have available.
That'd be great. We have a lot of community families that could probably use our help, and this is a great way to do it. So thank you. I will close this and open public comment. Do we have any public comment? Thank you, Ms. Pocock. Any public comment from anyone? Any raised hands?
And for those joining virtually, just use the raise your hand feature.
We just recently went down to Ramona School.
Excuse me, we have to keep our masks on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You think you're outside, I
That's
know.
hard for me to talk.
It's
Went
hard.
down to Ramona School, and we've had a little rally down there this morning, And what we
Well,
have
actually,
is-
this is on this particular item on the, we'll be in public comments when we're done with this. This is an item that we have
Okay.
to,
Very shortly, all we have is the petition.
we can't, you have to wait till the, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
we're on the community block.
That's my
grant.
first time here, so.
You're good, you're fine. Just a few minutes, you'll be in public comment where you can make your comments. Thank you, sir. Any other public comment
For this topic.
for this topic? But that's okay.
I didn't put it down, but now that I've heard the answer, I'd like to understand, if possible, what is the definition under which those monies can be spent with particular reference to elderly? I understand the answer. I'd like to understand how that answer came to be by definition of that rule. It seems very ambiguous, and even some of the suggestions for the money that I've heard right now seemingly fall into that criteria of use. So just a clarification, please.
Thank you, Mr. Gabaldon. Any other comments on this? Then we'll close. Any hands up? We'll go ahead and close public comment. Mr. Russi?
Yeah, I think it would be best, the whole approval process through the county with CDBG is challenging. I mean, because we are very limited in how those dollars can be used. I think it would be best, if you have questions, I put you in touch with Candace to discuss it and get the specifics of how that conversation was had, and what they came back with, because we took your program specifically to them, and they said, yeah, this is not something that would be, unfortunately, eligible to use the funds for. But happy to give you what that specific answer of why was. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Russi. Any other questions for staff, council? Looks like we need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Carter, second.
I'll second it.
Please, we will vote. You like that red button, don't you? Wait for it.
There we go.
Okay, we good. We move to item 7, other matters. Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
did you want to?
Nope.
Let Councilmember Carter go the second.
Okay. As you saw in your agenda, there's a letter from the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. And for the public, I'd like to read the letter. It's short. It says, Dear Mrs. Carter, I came across an article about the Chair of Honor, remembering over 82,000 service members who have not returned home and are listed as POW or MIA. This chair serves as a reminder of all the sacrifices made for our country by these American servicemen who have for too long been forgotten by all of their families and friends. In Pennsylvania, at professional sports stadiums in City Hall, they have been dedicating these chairs of honor for remembrance for all to see who entered these places. I feel this would be an honor for our City Hall of Laverne to place such a chair of honor in their building. I would love for you to present this to the council members for consideration. And this is from Daniel Lopez, commander of the VFW Post 12034. And as you know, our VFW is very active in Laverne, and he had this article also that was attached, and it's just a great way for us to honor our servicemen, especially POW and MIA. So I'm asking council for your support, and also at that time what I'm asking is to give direction to city staff to work with VFW for the details to be completed.
Thank you, Councilmember Carter. I thank Daniel Lopez for contacting you on this. This is something that's extremely important, I feel, to value the lives that were lost, and they're still out there, to let us know that the military that served and have served their country, and they didn't come back. And I think it's really important. Council, comments?
No, very good idea.
I think that's
You
pretty
good?
much a, Mr. Russi?
No, that'll give us the direction we need to work with VFW, and then I'd expect to come back with some ideas and have some type of ceremony in the future once we have the chair and location identified. I'm kind of thinking somewhere over in this area when you first come in the door would be appropriate.
I can't think of a better way to 82,000 service members that didn't come home, and to know that when you come in our chambers that we're celebrating those military personnel. I think it's great because we are a military family in this community, so this is great. So you'll keep us updated, and we'll make this move quickly with Mr. Lopez and his group. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Carter. Appreciate that. We are now at public comments and oral communications.
Actually, before we jump into that, I'd like to have Director Sean Igo come up and give a little bit of an update on the activities and recovery we've been doing since the windstorm. With that, Sean.
Extremely important. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So tonight I'm here to give an update on where we're at with the recent windstorm that hit San Gabriel Valley, and specifically for us in Laverne on the night of, that really started, January 21st and then continued over into the 22nd. First off, I really want to thank all of the departments that really came together, PD, fire, during the event. They really supported our efforts in helping us contain areas, helping us to cut up trees, helping to support us with street closures, things like that. And then during the process and after the process, community development, finance, community services, all the departments really came together to support us as we continue to navigate through this challenging time. So I want to thank everyone for that support. Obviously, thank all of you for your support in allowing us to do the job, the community for understanding that this is a long, ongoing process. So I wanted to say that first. Secondly, we really do have a long road ahead of us to get us back to full restoration. So a lot of the parks have been reopened at this point, all of them with some minor tree stumps that will need to take care of over the next several weeks, if not months. But Coons Park is the only one that still remains closed. Our efforts are focusing on this week to get that open. So a significant portion of that park should be open this week, if not the beginning of next week. So at that point, all the parks will be back open with some minor cleanup that will need to take place with those tree stumps. So regarding the tree stumps, we have about 3 weeks of effort to get those ground out because we have so many locations and the size of them. We can't do that internally. That's a contractor that has to do that. So about 3 weeks to get those things cleaned up. Once we get the tree stumps out, then we have to go back in and actually do the concrete restoration. We're still evaluating that. I've had conversations internally with our staff. We may take that effort on to reduce some costs. Obviously, our hope is to go to the state, recover some of this funding, but the more that we can reduce our costs, then hopefully the less we'll have to ask back from the state. So if we can't take on those efforts because of our own workload, then we will be looking to City Council to hopefully award a contract to get those services restored. So we have about 15 to 20 locations that will need to have significant restoration efforts. So it'll probably take another 3 or 4 weeks to get those areas restored. So we'll work with our current contractor that's doing some street paving to get a cost, and then other contractors. Pelota Park, which was also significantly damaged. We've been working with the Little League to try to get their fencing restored, their netting restored. All the trees have been removed, but we still, again, have probably about a week or two before any of the final fencing can be restored and then the netting. Because some of those trees did block some of the foul ball line, we do have to look at potentially extending the height of that netting. But again, we're working with Little League to see if they can offset some of those costs because this is a new ask beyond what was existing there. But they can technically use the field for practice, but as far as using it for games, it's not accessible. But our hope is before the season starts in about a month that we'll have everything ready for them to go. So we still have a significant amount of work in the riparian channel. That is going to be a challenging area for us to get into because it's really a remote area, and it's going to be a lot of hand walking and carrying things out, cutting things up. We just can't get vehicles and equipment in there. So it's going to be a fairly long process to get all of that cleaned up. But the trail is open. People can still access it and go about their walks and their bike rides. So with that, I'll leave it to any questions.
City facilities?
Oh, yeah, city facilities. So overall, city facility, we have a few city facilities that have been damaged. The old Heritage Home, that has been damaged, but we're working on efforts to get that restored. I believe that the window has been repaired. We're working on the chimney. Hopefully, we find a contractor that can take care of that. One of our water facilities, the roof on that, part of the roof was blown off. We also saw some other damages at various Oak Mesa Park. So all those facilities are working on getting restored, if not already being restored. So,
Council, any questions or comments for Mr. Igo? If you can get that working.
There it is. I just want to thank you again. Us that live on right next to the freeway, Caltrans came out. Thank you for urging them to help out the residents there as well. So working with other organizations to get that out there too. So my neighbor's wall that had there was quickly fixed and the trees removed. So appreciate that.
Perfect.
Yeah, likewise, I wanted to thank you for your effort. My neighborhood certainly had a lot of trees that had tumbled over and blocked some roads. If you are interested walking downtown, there are some areas that look like a Rodin sculpture garden. So you can just walk by and see these tree trunks that look like sculptures. They're quite elegant. Hopefully, though, once they're removed, we won't miss them. But I like your plan of trying to get emergency funds for sidewalks before we do use the CBDG funds, so that's very helpful. Thank you.
I just similarly just want to please convey our thanks to the staff and everybody, because I know the night that the winds hit, everybody was already mobilizing to do what they could to minimize the destruction and help clear roadways and make everything safe. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your regular reports, keeping us abreast of what's happening, and just being very responsive. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
And also, with all the trees that we've lost in the city, I was talking to our city manager about the individual private properties. I know my HOA, we lost 20 trees, and I'm talking oak trees that are 40, 50 years old that were just tumbling over into people's property. One hit a home and went into their pool, knocked down the fence. So, you know, those kind of damages too are within our city, and I know there's other associations that had problems. So, you know, it impacted the whole community.
Yes.
So thank you for all that you did.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to just echo, you guys have done a great job, all of our staff. I know that Edison was an issue, and Mr. Rusty was on the phone with them. We had neighborhoods out for 36 to 48 hours, but I want to commend the Public Works staff, especially for being out there on the fire line with their saws and chainsaws, working with the West Coast arborists, and there's a lot of dangerous work out there, and these pieces of wood are just, they're tons. They're not little twigs anymore. And I want to thank you also, you're putting the wood on the side of the curbs, and people are literally, the minute you put that out, it is gone. So all the stuff that you're cutting, people are loving it. They're loading their trailers up. Great job in putting out the dumpsters in the various parks. I see people using those, so that's really, really beneficial for them. I think it's, where is it, Coons? Where are
Mills.
they? Mills?
And then Station 3.
Yeah, Station 3.
Yeah.
So they have dumpsters that you have excess stuff in your yard. So, but Public Works, fire, police, all the internal staff, I don't think anybody wasn't working on this, and really to make it so, first of all, was to get our residents safe. We didn't have that many structure damage. We had a few, but that was first. Then second was clearing the streets. You guys did a great job, and I just want to let you know, let all your people. And I was here back and forth and doing a minute with the mayor, because there's just so much going on, and people are wondering what's happening. But your communication's excellent. I think people understand what's going on and know that this is going to take some time. But kudos to you and your whole staff and the entire city. Everybody did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I can't
Appreciate
thank
that.
you
And
enough.
Real quick to those bins. So the bins will end up going away at the end of this week.
Okay.
We hope by now that everyone's picked up our efforts. Waste Management will also discontinue their additional service pickup. If you need additional services, people can call in. What we're finding now is the past couple of weekends, we're actually getting more debris than was probably from the winds, and so we're getting overloaded, and then it just requires additional
Darn couches.
Yeah,
I just can't stay away from those couches, huh?
So, but again, people can use them the rest of the week, so feel free to go and use those as they see fit. But by Friday, they will be gone. So, but again, I know all of you know this, but we really do have a great team here. Citywide, Public Works is a fantastic organization, and I will tell you that in an emergency, our crew came together significantly to get all of the streets open. I mean, Arrow Highway, Foothill, East Street, 3rd Street. Those are significant areas where people were significantly impacted. You talk about getting those open in a few days, that's a significant amount of effort with just the small crew that we have. So we do have a tremendous crew here at Public Works.
Well, and I've been telling people, a shout out, don't honk, especially when they got a chainsaw. Please, don't honk, okay? But I know you had some theft. We had some chainsaws stolen, which there's one thing in construction, as I've been in for 50 years almost, don't touch a man's tools or a woman's tools. Don't touch them. Right. That's their lifeblood. And, I mean, we do that, we can't do our job. And I know that took 2 or 3 chainsaws off the back of a truck. And these people are working from, they're away from their families. The first week and a half was just utter chaos, and they were working night and day. So, but kudos again, you guys did a fantastic job, and you're still doing a great job. And the place is looking better every day. You can tell.
Yep.
But thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm opening up the floor for public comment. I have got a couple speaker cards. Sir, would you like to speak right now? Yes. This is your turn now.
I just wanted to say that we were down at Ramona School this morning. They had a rally down there, and we took the petitions down there for school choice and visited with a lot of the parents there, or people who were concerned about what's going on in the school districts and what they hear on the news and so forth. And there's a very important petition out right now. It's called School Choice. It's the only petition that is for school choice. Parents who are somewhat, or I can't say, because I'm not a parent of a young child today, but I am an observer. And they're concerned that they're not getting the proper attention as far as being able to breathe through the mask and so on and so forth. Lots of issues out there with the schools. So we had just put the petition out there, and a lot of parents signed them, and I just wanted to let you know as a board, we are here tonight. We have the petitions. If you're interested in seeing that parents have control over their children, it gives them an opportunity as parents to, if they're in a failing school or failing school district, an area where they can't take the child out because the schools are not up to par, they have no choice. They have to stay there. So if they have a choice of going out into the public and finding a school that's a responsible school that they feel comfortable with, they can do that without being penalized in any way. In addition to that, we have funds that are available that would ordinarily go into the school districts. The parents keep it. They keep it for that child. They put it in a savings account, and it accumulates. Right now, we're basing our figures on about $14,000 a year. So if you have a child, you're not happy, we don't want kids walking the street that can't read and write when they grow up. You go walking along and you see the homeless people. Many of them cannot read or write. It isn't just drugs. They don't have the ability to fill out an application. They can't write. I take registrations to vote. I ask them to sign. And they have to put an X down because they can't cursor write. And it's really sad. So anyway, this is I feel it's really important that we give parents the opportunity to put their children in a good environment that they feel their kids can grow in and learn. And when they get out of high school, they can read, write, and do mathematics. So this is the wonderful American way of doing things. The petition. Here in California, we have that. And we have it right here. And we hope that we get enough signatures. It's going to be very, very difficult for us to do that. But I want to say that we need to take a stand. At least put the pressure on that for the schools that we have people that are concerned about the situations of today. So if you want to, we'll sign you up for Los Angeles County or whatever county you want. And we are volunteers, and so we get nothing out of this. We only have the one petition, and that's for the children. And so that's it. I wanted to say
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Gabaldon.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Tonight I'm speaking simply in support of people in our community. I wanted to come here tonight, and I know it's a bit redundant, but for two purposes, maybe three now that I've listened this evening. The first and the most important is to thank everyone who helped to execute the Keep Laverne Safe rally this last weekend. Many people throughout Laverne participated in creating awareness, printing flyers and cards, walking the streets to engage with the community and deliver the flyers, participate at the rally. And some special people, like Michelle McLean and her sister Laura, for printing out nearly 1,000 flyers promoting the event. Gina Henry and Paul Butler for coordinating and investing in over 500 cards and counting, the ones that you have in front of you this evening. And both Kathy Newland and Louis Joe Wheaton for helping at the rally to collect the cards. Kathy can barely stand without a cane, but yet she volunteered to stand there and collect those cards. So she's doing her part. And there are many others in our community who helped and are doing their part in this cause. And I hope all those with the DJJ and Board of Supervisors will do their part in listening to us. The second reason I'm here is to publicly support all the moms, dads, students, and their families who showed their solidarity at the last Bonita Unified School District Board meeting and the subsequent student and parent protests at our schools since then. There will be no hiding by those who have abused their power in these times, and they need to understand there will be a reckoning if things don't change in how students are treated in this political game of chicken. I'm not going to say any more than perhaps conveniently, and after much media scrutiny of the hypocrisy of our governor and the mayor of Los Angeles, the second largest city in our country, who claimed he was holding his breath the whole time he was taking pictures, has the county now made public that they will probably be pulling back on the mask mandates for indoor events, with the exceptions being facilities for healthcare workers, county buildings, and wait for it, schools. In every case, those who will remain under these mandates has little to do with making these environments safer, but more to do with politics and less about the science at this point. I hope all of you understand that we're 2 years now in the anniversary of COVID. There's been a lot of new information, a lot of new science, a lot of new participants in a healthy dialogue. And we need to start thinking about, I don't see anybody, maybe JR might be wearing an N95, I can't tell, but we know that these masks do very little to help us. They are now something that we need to move past so kids in schools can study without having to be doing this all the time. We come in here to speak and worry about our mask falling off. Let us allow ourselves to be educated by the information that is fairly presented to us and make our own choices. The time for this council and the citizens of Laverne has come to move to the right side of history, where anyone who wants to be vaccinated has every opportunity to do so. Anyone who wants to wear a mask can, even if the odds are no better than winning the lottery. But let everyone who doesn't want to wear a mask make a decision for themselves and their children. Let us get back to the business of living, and in particular, living our lives in Laverne. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Galvadon. Richard Charette, did I do it right? Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. One time.
By the way, I wanted to also say to Mr. Igo, we appreciate Public Works doing all the perimeter once the winds hit in our area. We had a lot of down trees as well, and they were out there cleaning everything up, and it really did a great job on that. So hats off to your team on that too.
Thank you.
My name's Rich Charette. I'm the president of Laverne Heights Homeowners Association, and Craig Stavang is our VP and so we're on the board of directors. So anyway, I'm here to, and it's kind of a light subject compared to what we've just heard on a couple of fronts, but I wanted to bring it up. So we do have a new fire road that was actually was an existing fire road from what I just learned a little bit, that comes down into Canyon Crest Drive into our neighborhood. And it was completed last summer. The other perimeter roads that give governmental access and utility access to our neighborhood, which were done some time ago, have entrances, have approaches, pavers, and entrances and gates so that non-government vehicles can stay out of there. So it's really an emergency access, okay, that this new road was put in for. Why I'm here, what we're requesting is, and by the way, the new road just comes to the end of the curb and ends. And it's on a steep grade. We brought it up to the fire chief along with Public Works and not Mr. Eigel, but Mr. Nunez. And bottom line is they wanted to have the city engineer take a look at it, which he did, and replied. And but his input was primarily all from a slope, from a stability standpoint of the road, from soil erosion and such. What we're requesting is from an aesthetic standpoint, is to finish the job, meaning put the gates in, put the pavers in, and what we've had happen, and I've seen this living on Canyon Crest already, is And by the way, you do have a no trespassing sign right at the entrance there. Well, people are just freewheeling going up there. So it's not so much pedestrian type, but the concern is people driving up there that shouldn't be up there. So all the other roads that in our community have gates so that people can stay out of that. So that's the request is an approach, pavers, and the gate. Excuse me. Yeah. And so I do have photos of that if interested or whatever, what I'm talking about on the other one. So that's why we're here. Did I miss anything, Craig? Yeah, I think you nailed it. Okay. Now, the other end of that, too, is I wanted to point out that we pay a special, I'll say an assessment annually to the city of Laverne to maintain the perimeter. And that comes out to out of 186 homes. We get taxed $117,000 a year. So I don't know what that costs to put in what we just brought up, but we do provide the city that kind of funding annually to maintain that, and which they're doing a great job on. But we would like to get this job completed. So that's it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Charette. Thank you. Mr. Russi?
Yeah, I would just suggest if you haven't met with Mr. Igo that they sit and speak with him. I know if our engineers looked at it, there may be some reasons that we can't go any further, but certainly would like Sean to meet with them and go through it, and then we can report back to council.
That'd be great so we know what's up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Mrs. Wetton?
Anyone joining virtually, please raise your hand if you'd like to speak.
Briefly. I hope by now that you all have heard about the great turnout we had on Saturday to protest the proposed jail facilities up in the foothills. I'm sorry I didn't see any of you there except the mayor. He was there, and we are thankful for that. I hope that doesn't mean you don't support what we are saying.
Thank you, Ms. Wetton. Anyone else for public comment? We have one hand raised. Chair.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I just wanted to take a second to say thank you to the BUSD teachers, staff, and administration who continue to show up and work hard for all of our children, despite the stressful and impossible position they are in. I'm sure being an innocent bystander in this clash between some of the community members and policymakers is not easy, but as a parent, I'm grateful and appreciative of your poise and grace during this challenging time. So thank you.
No other public comment. We're going to close public comment and come up to the dais for council comments. And who would like to start? Mr. Crosby? He can't even turn his on, so you might have to go.
You have like 5 people go before me. It's all right. Just short and sweet. Thank you for the people that all did come out on Saturday. I know the reasons why I know I wasn't present. I was with family and wasn't notified about the event till actually when the event started. But really appreciate and make sure that we stay focused on in our communication. I know some of us could be on calls sometimes, some of us write letters, and that we just continue to be focused because we as Laverne together will help make sure that this doesn't happen up there. And it does take everybody and all the efforts, and appreciate all the efforts out there. Just everybody be careful this next weekend. We'll all be gathering together, hopefully, places with your loved ones, watching the Super Bowl, and go Rams.
Councilmember, no.
Thank you.
Your name. Hey, here.
Thank you. I wanted to, we've all said our thank yous to the staff and everything for all of the good work they've done during the windstorms, but I also wanted to just take a moment to recognize the residents. I know that many people over that initial weekend and then throughout the weeks were reaching out to neighbors who didn't have power to say, what can I do to help you? Can I help you with cleaning out your fridge or your freezer because you don't want your food to go bad? Do you need a place to stay? Or just going over to help clean yards and just make sure everybody's okay. And I think that's something that, again, I really want to highlight that this is what this community is about. That's who we are, that we reach out to help people. So I was really heartened to see that. And I know for me too, I was lucky to have power, but I definitely had friends who did not. And so, give yourselves a pat on the back and just recognize what an amazing community we have here that reaches out and really supports each other in times of need. Speaking of times of need, I know I had talked about blood being in shortage. The Red Cross is still experiencing a shortage in blood and platelet donations. So if you are able to do so, there is a blood drive at ULV this Wednesday from 8 to 2 p.m. There are other blood drives also set up in the, at different places in Pomona, et cetera, neighboring cities. So you can check on the Red Cross's website. It's really easy. It's not, a hard thing to do, and you can definitely help save lives, especially in this environment where people are in desperate need of blood and platelet donations. And then last but not least, just want to wish Happy Lunar New Year to everybody who celebrates. It's the year of the tiger this year, and I'm hoping that 2022 brings about better times for all of us. I know it's been a hard couple of years since the pandemic started, and also want to recognize that this month is Black History Month. So thank you all for being here, and as always, be kind to one another.
Thank you, Councilmember Lau. Councilmember, no? Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to join my council members in echoing the positive response that our community gave to each other and reached out. I know that several neighbors reached out to me when they were looking for things, and I could do many things, but the one thing that I even had a challenge with was my company, which is Southern California Edison. It's can be frustrating when even on the inside it's hard to get information around and make sure that things are being covered. This is Black History Month, so we're celebrating that. It's also Heart History or Heart Health Month for the American Heart Association. Tomorrow evening there is an active transportation committee meeting and dealing with modes of transportation that don't involve your car. And so if you're interested in being active, join us for that. Thank you.
I'm just going to echo all of my council members and thank you all that came out this weekend. It was a very, very well represented rally, and we need to keep doing that. We need to keep focusing on making sure that this doesn't happen in our community. It's very important, probably one of the most important things we have to deal with. So please stay diligent, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, look at social media. I know that the city website is constantly posting stuff, so what's going on, and we have the supervisors meeting and the DJJ commission meeting this week also. And again, I want to thank Mr. Igo. I want to thank all the staff of the city for a great job on keeping us safe. Mr. Russi for communicating with Edison, even though it was frustrating. And Spectrum did a good job. They did temporary fixes, and they really were the crews were amazing. Up in Mountain Springs, they lost one of their main power lines, and they were at the end of the line, so there's no diversion. They couldn't just switch a switch. It was like, no. And their power lines were everywhere. Their Spectrum lines were down. I mean, it was a mess. And to speak of the resiliency of our neighbors in our community, people really stand together, help each other. I know I was on the phone. We were helping. We were moving generators around, whatever we could do to, whatever. If one person helps, that means maybe 2 or 3 people get helped, and then we just continue to do that. And that's what our neighborhood's about. Loving each other and making sure everybody's comfortable, making sure everybody's safe, and our senior community making sure that they're safe and they have the things they need. So. Good job by all communication. I do appreciate that. With that, we have a closed session. Is that correct, Mr. Russi?
We do, Mr. Mayor. It's a conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, discuss exposure of litigation under subdivisions BD2E2 of 54957.6 of the Government Code. 4 potential cases.
Will not be reporting out. Is that correct, Mr. Russi? So we will meet in closed session. Our next scheduled meeting is February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. We are adjourned at Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Don't come on Monday. Come on Tuesday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. We are adjourned. We are recessing to closed session at 7:37. Thank you, everybody.